Okay, we are recording again because this is Clifton's Clicks, your cosmic dude. I feel like I have a pretty good idea, right? So what we were talking about here was various things that need to happen, right? Because every expert, or self-proclaimed expert, because that's the thing, you become a self-proclaimed expert and then you become an expert. Kind of like, what is it, Kanye, who said, I'm the only one who loves myself, it's the only one that matters. Because he put himself out there, and other people are like, oh, that resonates with me, whatever you're saying. And it's like, dude's not that special. But the dude recognized that he is powerful and valuable, and that is what's special. It's like, I am number one. But obviously, there's some issues with him, and the idea is that his view of himself as being special is not in harmony and resonance with creating a enlightened ecosystem, and therefore people have found him to not be enlightened and not as someone you'd want to follow. And other people kind of come and gurus come and they've got incredible messages to share, and it's their authentic self, right? So, what we were talking about was the vibe. You got to get your vibe up. First, you got to understand that there's a higher self, a purpose, an intention to become pure, similar to like Jesus, be like Jesus, WWJD, what would Jesus do? So that way you can start to embody what Jesus would do. Of course, one of the questions is where are we learning about Jesus from like people who are, molesting children? Like that's not cool. From people who don't live an integrated lifestyle, that's not cool, right? So of course, what you do is you, similar to like the healthcare system, doctors who are working on you talking about health and then they're smoking and then they're eating fast food and like, come on, really? Like, let's get integrated, right? So of course, when you see your higher self, and of course, a lot of these tools and technologies come from my background as co-founder, COO of Human Garage, of MBA from Columbia, accounting and CPA from USC and Deloitte, being a only, whatever, all these things. I'm bringing in, and my guru, Paramahansa Nityananda, who, is awesome in his own right. Awesome, and like he's amazing and incredible, and I love them all, right? And so what I'm talking about here is the meta learning. So what is the process and approach, so that way we can understand it and apply it? Because really what happens when you get into the collective consciousness, it's really about, boom, we got to get the collective consciousness at the level of the frequency and by vibing all at the same frequency. Otherwise this train ain't gonna go, because we got all this low vibe weight in the back. That's, the caboose is like holding us down, and there's everyone, come on, we can do it. You gotta get the caboose, guys. You gotta get the caboose, because we are all independent individuals, and we all have what's called Paramashiva potential, which is our ability to manifest what we wish and what we desire. We all can, and that's a beautiful thing, but there are specific ones that when it impacts the collective consciousness, those works and things that you do in your life actually help manifest more of the reality in which you want, that may shift the tide of the collective consciousness. And we go into that equation in detail a little bit later. So you have the awareness that you have a higher self that you want to get to, whether you did some psychedelic or you were in a euphoric state of bliss, and then now you're in like a really state of trauma or shock or loss, and now you're trying to get back to that level. And of course, you've got people who give you pills that like, interrupt your receptors to make you not depressed, but then also to make you happy because, well, they're trying, and it makes money. Pills are good. Pills are a great business model, especially when you can protect it and you've got all the fancy sales tools. So anyway, so you're trying to search. You're finding things. You're finding different leaders, different people with different messages that say, hey, this works, this works, this works. And so you're looking, you're searching, you're finding. And one of the most important things is to bring it back to the self, right? Because if someone is taking the authority away from you without teaching you how to eventually get that authority back, then that's clear exploitation. Some of the times, though, what you do is you follow them, you wander, you look, and you observe at how they do it, so that way you can survive and you can live and learn, and then eventually you get it back. So one of the beautiful things about the guru is living with the guru, or living the lifestyle of the guru, is you essentially give yourself up to the guru, similarly how you give yourself to, parents, family, or school or college in certain aspects, but the guru, you give yourself entirely, so that way you follow what he says, and then eventually you start to learn and recognize why that it is valuable. And it's not so much in a mind control or a brainwashing perspective. when it's done properly, you can do it in a systematic way that is very grounded and allows you to create that comparison. Of course, comparison is mind and judgment. However, a lot of us exist in a very judgy state, and it's a self preservation mechanism from following leaders in the past who have led us astray, right? Because we like, oh, let's do this because he said so. Okay, but then, now we have World War II. That's not good, right? So, of course, we want to be motivated and uplifted, and we want to change our lives. However, we also have that, like, I don't know, which is past trauma. But also, it's good because it identifies who amongst the sort of teacher crowd or the guru crowd is walking the walk and talking the talk. And of course, you have a lot of discrepancies or issues that come up amongst gurus in which there's accusations, both substantiated and unsubstantiated, about sort of the misdeeds of these gurus. And for those that are substantiated, it's like, yeah, these people were not integrated. And so kind of all the things that they were talking about was not from an integrated lifestyle. Of course, that doesn't mean that everything they talk about is not valuable or worthy or the right approach. It just means that they aren't the right people, or what they proclaim to be is not who they are. And so, of course, the unsubstantiated ones definitely test the limits of an individual being integrated to maintain that state. Nothing is more unsettling than sitting at a table with like tomatoes thrown at your face and smiling and giving love and respect. Oh, thank you. Yes, yes, yes. You want to be like, what the heck are you doing? Stop it, right? And obviously I use this as somewhat of a joke, but really what's important is to go out and observe and try and recognize that it's about teaching the skills and habits, behaviors, and beliefs that will help you get to your highest self. And on that journey of the highest self is an internal work. You can't get into internal work if you don't have the time to do it, if you don't have the space to do it, if the space you're in is very low vibe, or if the space you're in is very low vibe and distraction oriented, as well as you are in a low vibe yourself. How do you get in a low vibe? Modern lifestyle puts you in a low vibe. Your boss, your computer, your email, your family, all the things that are in your life that you got to complete with are just super noisy and distracting you, and you have to focus, right? You have to like intentionally do it. And of course, there's all these people popping pills and prescribing these quick hacks for you to improve your life, and various levels of yes, right? But if you're in inflammation, if you're in like irritable bowel syndrome, distress, if you've got sickle cell anemia, if you've got intense pain and trauma, it's very challenging to go within yourself. And so what you have to do is you have to reduce that inflammation, increase your vibe, make sure you're hydrated, make sure your space that you're willing and wanting to do this work is of a safe space for you to just let go and allow yourself to uncover all that grossness that's within you. And that's not done in a corporate environment right now. Mm-mm. And in many families, in many homes, that's not. And in many relationships, it's not. And so finding those individuals, and in my previous video, I mentioned, or previous video, which was a bit, I was crying, and I don't know if you could hear me. It was pretty emotional. Like, these things are emotional highs and lows. And it's real. I mean, those were real boogers coming down my nose that I had to, like, sop up with my sleeve like a, crying child. It happens. And so I get it. I mean, I'm there. I'm authentically there. This isn't like, oh, here's some onions, start crying. No, this is me trying to express, get out of my system, get out of me, like, what is in me. And so it's real. It's real work, and you're getting it out. You don't get it out by just sitting there. There's certain tactics and tools that can help you, like, make it so that way it's not as intense. But ultimately, going through different processes, it has to come out. And whether you write it and rip it, or burn it, or talk to yourself in a mirror, or do all of it, or talk to, like, a printout of someone you admire, or call someone, or talk to your friend, or give a recording like this, a video recording. It's almost like this might be a really good idea to do completion work via video, and then you can use AI to identify it and help them along their way. So all you got to do is talk to yourself on a camera that no one sees except AI. That's a cool idea. So keep going. All right, so you got to reduce the inflammation. You've got to increase your vibe. Well, first of all, you got to understand what vibe is and how to reduce your inflammation. And that's where working on the body and the mind based on your lifestyle, your food, your eating habits, what you consume internally, what you pursue in your free time, how much you sleep, what time you go to sleep is important. And this is where biohackers come in, right? They're really great at this. And then they get to a certain level, and then it's like, how do we get to that next level? Called spirituality, right? And so if you biohack the shit out of your brain, that's cool. In your body, you got like all this energy, but you're like, good luck, like sitting there meditating, while your body's like, I got so much energy, right? You can do it. You can try. Let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear your story. However, there are some processes that your brain has to get into in certain brain states, and your vibe has to get into certain states that require a certain purity of the body that modern food doesn't necessarily, it prevents you from doing. So the calcification of the pineal gland is important to decalcify it, so that way you can get into that more sensitive, energetically receptive and aware state to help you do deeper and deeper levels of inner work and actually recognize kind of how you are manifesting the situations you are in. Of course, you can use a coach, and that's where I come in, and Victoria comes in, and people come in. But the best thing is to learn it yourself, and that's what we're doing. We're helping teach you how to do it for yourself, because ultimately we can help you, other people can help you, gurus can help you, but you are you, so you got to do it yourself. And that's the incredible thing about inner work. They can say the inner, we can cleanse all karmas for you, and it's like, yeah, that'd be cool. At the same time, what's that going to do? For some people, it's the exact thing, but that they need. However, everyone's different, right? Maybe, you are that person. Boop, just go to the guru and get cleansed for a lifetime. Great. Go find that guru, and he's Paramahansa Nityananda. Or you do the inner work, and if you're like me and doing the inner work, because what is the point of all this? The point is to get into your higher self, right? And to get to your higher self requires a journey of clearing the lower self or the inner stuff and integrating into your higher self, because really all that is a metaphorical example of what you feel is your highest potential, which is simply a feeling, which actually comes back to specific powers of energy and feeling into the future. We won't get into that right now. So you're going through it, you're working through it, you're upgrading your operating software, you're getting into a high vibe environment, and you're doing the inner work. That's great. That's great. One of the problems, or one of the things that will normally occur, is voice. Finding your true voice, your authentic voice. For those who talk too much, what that voice is a voice of insecurity, and it's a voice of doubt, and recognizing and often too loosely promising things and over-promising things, which then creates chaos and unreliability. And then there are those who are too scared to speak up and speak their truth. And then all of a sudden you're quiet, and you put in situations which you don't like, and then you start to grow resentment. And there's some other various levels of blocked throat chakra, etc. But we won't get into that, because there's far greater experts in that area than I currently am at. Maybe one day that'd be cool. Yeah, we'll see. I think experts, they're like, go see the guru, go do the whole chakra opening, heart opening stuff, much more in deep depth, much more detail. What I'm talking about is the meta learning here. So you open your voice. Now you can say whatever it is that you actually want to say, because before you were being so either afraid to address what's inside of you, or so afraid to just be quiet and see what's inside of you. So now you're seeing it. Now you're able to see it. So you can do things like talk on video, and your voice comes out. And what's happening is your voice is saying, wow, there's lots of shitty shit in me that I need to get out. And so you got to say it. And you got to say it to people, or to a thing, or in an environment that's safe. And oftentimes you got to say it to an individual who you're scared might respond negatively to you saying it. But you got to say it, right? And so you say it, and then you see what happens. And then all of a sudden, life, chaos, blah, 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 but it's out of your system. And there's various levels at which you can get out of your system, and certainly those feelings and things, hopefully at that point, are not as dangerous or whatnot. because it can be. Like if you get out of your system and you say to someone who's not ready or emotionally ready or sensitive and not secure in themselves, and you say it to them, oh my gosh, boom, knocks them off course, knocks you off course, and now you got to do your own side journey and quest of understanding certain things and whatnot. And that's happened to me. I did that, really, really, really not nice things to certain family members, and yeah, it was gross. It was gross, and I felt it though at the time, like yeah, I gotta get it out. And then sometimes I gave it to someone who was stronger, more firmly rooted in their emotional security and stability, and they took it. Okay, thank you. We're gonna get dinner now. Yeah, because you got to get it out, and when you get out, you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Or, oh wow, that was bad, but now it opens up and unlocks the quest I got to go on right now. Either way, it's out of you, and so now you're continuing to move forward. And yeah, it is challenging and could be damaging to relationships and whatnot. More importantly, though, it reestablishes and reconfigures the dynamics of those relationships, whether or not they're existent or not, and what they look like. And so you're doing this inner work and you're moving, and as you're doing the inner work, you start to recognize that your lifestyle and behaviors and habits are out of integrity with who you see yourself as and what you want to be. And so then you start making changes in your habits and behaviors, which is great, because if you're working 9 to 5 or 8 to 6 lifestyle, and you want to do this inner work, this spiritual work, when are you going to do it? You're not going to do it at work. You got to do it at night, which then means your nights are filled with doing the inner work. So you're not going out and drinking. You're not going out and doing destructive habits and things. And of course, that could be a bit challenging for people to all of a sudden see themselves kind of isolated from people. But it's kind of like, hey guys, I need time and space. I got to clear stuff up. And so as we grow on this, people will be able to recognize that and appreciate that. And there's community events that you can re-emerge yourself in, that are specifically intended for these kinds of inner explorations, which are great. The conscious community is doing that, and very happy because it is sometimes a very isolated journey, or has been for many people. And so yeah, you got to do it after work, and so it's not easy. I mean, it's like it's it's like counterintuitive. Like, let me do inner work to make yourself a better person by getting less sleep and by having less fun. It's like, how is that possible? It's because it's the time and space you're taking for yourself, because you recognize that the fun that you are having is actually destructive, or simply just diluting yourself from actually advancing in what it is that you truly want. So you're doing that, you're speaking your truth, you're getting back into your truth, and now all of a sudden you're starting to integrate your lifestyle and recognizing that I need to take care of my body. My body's my temple. My inner space is really important. I got to clear out my inner space, and plant positive seeds and powerful cognitions. Say, okay, where do I get those positive cognitions from? Powerful cognitions, well, you can look at leaders, you can look at ancient texts, and of course, the Lindy approach, which is great, which is basically the longer the book has been around and it's still relevant, means the truth in there is pretty good. And so start with that, not the most recent thing that is this leader is trying to talk about for you to take. Yeah, which is why in the Vedic scriptures you go to the Shasta Atma Atma Pramana, you go all the way down to the original source, because it's like, this has been good for a long time, right? Rather than, this is what you need to know for 2019 in Q3, because guess what? In Q4 it's going to be out of date. That's less valuable in terms of those deeper inner work systems. You're building the system to build the system in which you can create the system for operating. So as you do that, you start to recognize the things that you buy impact you and influence you. Like, guys, this food that's not organic, or this food that's not plant-based, is really crushing my digestion, and it gets me unsettled, and I don't actually want to do the inner work, and I can't really get into as deep of a state as you are and what you're able to do. It's like, yeah, actually eating animals actually has an energetic impact to you. What? Oh my gosh. I need the science. It's there, and more is coming. You're killing a living thing. Yeah, but whatever. Man is more important. Okay, well, and plants are living. Okay, sure. there's lots of people who are confronting the veganism talk and things of that nature. So you can look at that. Main point is affect your vibe. Check out your vibe. Your vibe is to elevate and to go within. And you can't do those two things when you're eating things that are not organic and not plant-based. I mean, you can take supplements and you can go that route, and then all of a sudden now you're popping pills and you're creating no foundation upon which to build your inner work on, and that's great. That's fine. I mean, good luck. You're running away from a society that's popping pills anyway, Western medicine, going straight to another one that's popping pills or taking medicine. The point is to be able to do it at will because of who you are and what you have internally with you, rather than allowing yourself to externally rely upon that to make those profound shifts. But once again, of course, if you go through those transformative experiences with the intention of helping you recognize and understand the shifts that you need to make and to really internalize the shifts rather than to continuously rely upon the medication, then great. The difference is, let me take a very powerful anti-inflammatory that is plant-based to help me get into this state so then I can make the changes, rather than let me take this anti-inflammatory to help me get rid of my hangover so I can go, get hungover, go drink tonight, is both the same customer, they're both going to consume it and purchase it, but one has like that long-term vision and goal, and that's really what it's about. It's helping accelerate that long-term goal. So you got your high vibe, you got your high vibe state, you got your voice that you're speaking, your authentic self. You're now changing your behaviors and what you're purchasing, because now you're like, oh yeah, all these chemicals actually impact me because I'm actually getting more and more sensitive. So this water I'm drinking, it needs to be, fluoride free, it needs to be filtered, it needs to be structured. You're thinking, oh, these clothes I wear, they have chemicals on it and they employ child labor, and I'm actually holding on and feeling that energy of child labor. The lights that are being shined are specific frequencies, and I know that my vibe is being affected. And you're doing inner work and you're growing, which is great, and you're getting more integrated, right? Because there's cycles of this. You're doing great. You have this feeling, this longing of integrating into your higher self. So your lower self, or we'll just call it lower self, is leaving, is just dissolving because of the behaviors and the understanding and recognition and emotional traumatic releases that you go through as you enter into your higher self. And once you start to really integrate into all those behaviors, you're like, great, now I'm like at the level of this guru. Cool. What next? Well, there might be another guru to go follow, see what they say, and then what they say. And then ultimately, you start to recognize that there's a pattern and a pathway in which they are gurus that you can emulate for yourself, as long as you maintain an integrated lifestyle. And that's what you see, is that a lot of individuals who have gone along that path at various levels of frequency and self-realization and vibratory intentionality create a company, right? And so creating a company is a huge, powerful step, and being your own boss is a huge, powerful step, whether or not you work for a company or not, because then it recognizes you have extreme ownership. So people talk about extreme ownership, which is awesome. But at what frequency are you looking at ownership? Ownership of yourself as an individual, ownership of yourself in terms of yourself and your family, yourself in community, yourself in the world, yourself in the cosmos, right? And so there's various gurus and people that you can rely on that will help guide you and steer you in those different ways, and sort of make those micro movements and micro shifts to eventually get to wherever level you want to go. And if you want to go to the cosmos level, go into a guru who can initiate people to levitate and move things with their mind, etc., etc. It's a good place to go, because it's kind of like going up a stairwell. Like, oh, go down up this biohacking thing. Okay, well, it's 12th floor. Cool. I'm at the 12th floor. I'm like a super awesome certified coach of this biohacking thing. But wait, that building goes to the 14th floor. Oh shoot. Well, you can't jump. You got to go back down and then up the floor, one floor at a time. And of course, the act of learning those skills and traits, those learning traits, is very powerful and very impactful for your ability to go through the stairs. It's almost like I'm walking up the stairs very slowly. I'm in my first building. oh no, I gotta get off this building. Let me go to this building. And then the second building, you go a little faster. You go up, you go, oh, okay, this is cool, but there's a bigger one over there. Let me go over there. Let me go down. Okay. And then after a while, you just go until you essentially vortex yourself into the high vibe solution that you're looking for. That really resonates with you. And along that journey, actually, you start to recognize what your purpose is and what your path is. The challenge, of course, is not stopping until you're actually there and not being pulled into someone's building cycle. Like, hey, why don't you build a 14th floor to my 13th story building? Versus going, I'm going to go build my own building because I am my own individual. And so at that point, you have fully integrated into your life. And so, as Nityananda says, authenticity, integrity, responsibility, enriching. Way to go. Love and respect. Yes. At the other side, the reason why you give love and respect to people is because on the other side of love is bliss, and the other side of respect is powerfulness. It's beautiful. So, all of this to say is these are ways to get integrated and understand what it means to recognize that we are all oneness, all consciousness. And so in today's modern society, how can we do that? Well, there is an equation that I've created and have been playing with that creates a heuristic for us to observe how things operate. And I will share that next time. I said I was going to share it now. It's right here. It's right here. And the thing is, this is individual, collective, specific geolocation, as well as what I've been building since then in February has been how it applies and resonates within companies and businesses and startups and groups, because every group is an energy ball, right? You're all vibing in a specific energy and frequency. And what's beautiful about America is we have the Declaration of Independence, that we're all independent and we all have free will. And even if you have the greatest answer and solution to life, we all got to buy into your thing, which is funny. It's hilarious. It's like, hey, guys, I have the answer. I have the answer. Yeah, but I like eating my steak and my fast food and doing my drugs and all the looking at porn. I don't know if yours is the answer. I like mine. Or that other person's. And that's the fun, is it's like, okay, sure, we might have the answer, and the answer is there. It's very clearly there. It's just how do we get there? And that's where synergy comes in, and that's where helping the collective conscious go to. So that way it becomes yeah, you're right. That's the way to go. Yeah. I got my own unique experience to tell and story to tell about how I came to that recognition. And of course, with the node networks and the mesh network, with the mesh network and the nodes in it, each individual rising, going on their ascension journey, brings those that are connected with the mesh network higher vibration, which of course requires a little bit of extra energetic exchange and work, which in today's society, one of the challenges is how to fairly compensate that from a materialistic perspective. When someone in your node elevates and brings you up there, how does one accommodate that energetic exchange, whether it be through money or gifts or help? There's 10 forms of currency. That is an incredible TED Talk that goes into it. And that's where we're at. We're at this kind of level of like all these individuals going on their seeking quest, and some being sort of selfishly, self-prescribed gurus, and some getting kind of stuck in the like, let me just maintain the highest vibration and not go back and help others, or hey, I'm here at the finish line, let me coach you and encourage you to come where I'm at, which is great. Those are all great paths and help with it. What I'm interested in and what I'm excited about is just making it happen, doing whatever it takes, synergizing it. Because there's countless ways in which people get there, and the collective consciousness is going to get there one way or another. The question is, which way are we going to get there? I'd rather be enjoyable and financially fruitful for myself and others. And it's not really that challenging. It's very simple. It just requires bold persistence. And yeah, So there you go. That's the formula. Shiva potential, collective consciousness, tipping point, Maharishi effect. Starts with you, starts with water, and starts with being exposed to people who are in a higher vibe state and wanting to be like them, be like Mike. I want to be like Michael Jordan. How do I do that? Oh, well, here's an entire maze and level of the matrix that you can play in so you can be like Mike. You won't be Mike. You'll be you as the greatest expression of what it's like that Mike is like. And it's through all these dabbling and playing that it really is, So the best metaphor I can give here is we're all instruments. Like, I'm a white male. I'm a white dude, right, who grew up in a really, well-off family, right? That's my instrument. It's not changing, right? There's other people out there who, and maybe that's like the bass, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, we're kind of like that, boring, like boom, 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 boom. It's Thanksgiving, we gotta do this. It's Christmas, we gotta do this. It's Easter, we gotta do this. Boom, boom, boom. But it creates that like stable thing that everyone's like dancing in, and with their boom, boom, right? Some people are those like little flutes that are just like floating around, going to all the festivals, and that's their instrument. And we all understand what it is, how to play different notes. I need to play G and E flat, and you need to know how to play D and E flat. And we have different octaves we can play in. And we're just learning, going from one place to another, to get really experienced in these different keys that we are playing, and different chords that we are playing. And based on the vibration that you are able to entertain and be and hold within you, you can play a much more robust and rich story. If you're in sort of a high vibe environment that's closed off with the rest of the world, you're playing the little like lullaby, twinkle twinkle twinkle, and it could be the coolest little, but really what really moves people is those is the complex expression of unique chords and a momentary seeming dissonance that actually harmonizes into a beautiful melody towards the end. And that's where jazz comes in, and why jazz is so fun, because it's sort of just like, with the flow. Yeah, I know how to play everything, but I'm just playing to whatever is in the moment. And that's what it is. It's about building those skill sets for you to embrace and encounter whatever it is that you need to embrace on your day-to-day, and be able to respond with the appropriate note. Because it's like, what happens if it's like, I need to play B flat, 2 octaves above middle C, in order to like optimize my response here, and I don't even know how to play B flat 1 octave above middle C. Well, then you're not able to respond successfully, right? And that's really the fun. And it's like, what do you mean respond successfully? That's the individual willpower and the ego's desire of what it means to actually respond, and what notes they want to respond to life with. And that is what creates the incredible masterpiece that is known as our life's work. And it's a masterpiece based off of our vibrational frequency. And so learning and elevating into the highest highs also has you exploring the lowest lows. And that's one of the values of doing this deep inner work, is because you're getting low. Because, yeah, you can be in the treble clef all your life, which is great, awesome, and a lot of people advocate for it. But getting into the bass notes is really a powerful thing, and especially when what you wish to manifest and create is like that super deep, super moving symphony and story. That's why you do this stuff. So with that, I thank you. I hope this resonates. There's definitely some stuff to flesh out in order for me to go through these stages and processes, and I appreciate you bearing with me, and as always, I appreciate your feedback, your suggestions, and I'm here for you in an economic standpoint as well as a spiritual standpoint. So If there's things that you wish to go through in your life and some products you wish to explore to help you, I am here for you. And I'm creating some cool stuff too. Awesome. All right. Bye.